If you're creating a new ASP.NET Core Web API, you must use minimal APIs, and here's why. There are 5 reasons that we're going to cover. The first one is cleaner code. If we want to specify a Hello World endpoint in a controller, how do you think we will do it? Well, we've created a new file called Hello World controller. First of all, we need to import the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC namespace. Then we need to give the class name a namespace, so we'll do it based on the project name. So it's called roundthecode.minimal API over controllers, and it's in the controllers folder. Then we need to specify the API controller attribute. Then we can create a class called Hello World controller. This needs to inherit the controller base class. And then we need to call the HTTP GET attribute and specify a route. The route we'll specify is /hello-world. Then we can create the endpoint. So we need to return a type of string and specify the method name, which is hello world. And then we can return the output of hello world. So there's a lot of code for simple functionality. We need to import this namespace, give the class a namespace, specify the API controller attribute, then the class name, and the class that it inherits, and then we need to specify that it's HTTP GET with the root name, then we specify the method and the return value. But it's so much more simpler using minimal APIs. So we've opened up program.cs, and we call app.mapGet. We specify the route as /hello-world, and then we put in a lambda expression, and then we just have to specify the output, which is hello space world. And that's all you need to do with minimal APIs. Cleaner code is the first reason. The next reason we'll look at is less middleware. When running controllers, you need to include the add_controllers method in program.cs. What this does is it registers the MVC assemblies and also the Razor View engine into dependency injection. Now we're going to add a breakpoint to see how many services get registered as a result of calling in that method. So let's run the application. So before it gets called, there's 123 services that have been added. And after we've called it, it's gone up to 219, so that's nearly 100 extra services added to builder.services. If we have a look at the memory, it's about 37 megabytes when adding controllers. Now let's remove controllers and just use minimal APIs. So we can remove that call. We can also remove app.mapControllers. Now builder.services.addControllers adds authorization. If you don't need that, you can remove it. Let's now repeat the same steps. So we'll put a breakpoint on there and run the application. So the number of services stands at 123 because we don't have to add the controller services on there. And the memory is slightly less at 35 megabytes. Again, this is not a very scientific test, but it goes to show that the memory is less when not using controllers. So less middleware is another reason, but what do you think the other reasons are? Before we have a look at them, if you like the look of minimal API, then I've got a course for you that's for complete beginners. You can go to roundthecode.com/min1 to view it. There's also a link for it in the YouTube video description. Controllers have many features, but minimal APIs are catching up fast. In .NET 10, they've added a new feature for validation. Before .NET 10, if you wanted to add validation into a minimal API endpoint, you'd have to use a third-party library. But now you can use data annotations for validation with .NET 10. So we'll show you how to do it. So within this class, we're going to add a new property with a type of string, and we'll call it task. And we'll set the default value to string.empty. Then we can add some validation attributes to it. So we can add the required. We can add that it needs a minimum length of 50 characters. And we can do the same for the max length, and we'll specify that as 1,000 characters. In program.cs, we're going to create a new endpoint. Mark it with the post method. We'll give it an endpoint of /to-do, and then we're passing that particular type as the parameter. So we need to import the namespace into it, and we call it create to-do list. And to make this simple, we'll just return a created response, so a 201 response. So let's run the application. So what do you think will happen if we add an empty task field into this endpoint? Let's take a look. It's still returning a 201 response. What's the reason behind that? Well, we need to add something into builder.services. We need to call builder.services.add validation. Let's now try that again. What do you think will happen this time? It's now outputting a 400 bad request response, and it's saying that the task field is required. If we put in a few characters, say about 10, it's coming up saying the field task must be a string or array type with a minimum length of 50. And it's only when we put 50 or more characters up to 1,000 that we get the 201 response. This also works with record types as well. So we change it from a class to a record, and we'll try it again. We'll input an empty task, and it's still returning the same response, a 400 bad request. So that's a major new feature for .NET 10. Minimal APIs can make the program.cs file look very bloated, so that means you need to keep them there, right? Wrong. You can move them to a separate file, and here's how. So we've got a number of endpoints in program.cs, and it's making the file look quite bloated. What we're going to do is we're going to move these endpoints into this to-do endpoints class. Before we do that, we're going to create a new static method. So we'll call it map to-do endpoints. And we need to pass in an instance of the web application, and we'll call that app. Now we'll go back into program.cs, and we're going to cut the endpoints from there and move them into here. We need to import the namespaces. And then back in program.cs, all we need to do is to call that method. So it was called map to do endpoints. And that means it's no longer in program.cs. We can also go further with this, so we can set this all in a to-do group. So we can call app.mapgroup/to-do. And then rather than call in app, we call the to-do group. And we'll update that for each of our endpoints. And because we're doing that, we no longer need that in the root. So we can just remove it. We've made that change, but will the endpoint still work? So we're running Swagger, we can see the endpoints in there, but let's just try a couple of them out. So for this we expect a 201 response. That's working. Let's just try one of the others. Let's see if we can get that task that we just added. And that is returning a 200 response. So we've successfully moved the endpoints to another file. So you have a choice as to whether you have it in program.cs or a different file. The last reason is that Microsoft actually recommends it for new projects. In their documentation, they specify that it's recommended for new projects and that minimal APIs are the recommended approach for building fast HTTP APIs with ASP.NET Core. They allow you to build fully functional REST endpoints with minimal code and configuration. So it's not just me who recommends minimal APIs, it's Microsoft themselves. So there are some of the reasons why you must use minimal APIs over controllers. And the likelihood is that minimal APIs will overtake controllers in the coming years. So if you want to know more about minimal APIs, watch this video next. These features are covered in my Minimal API for Complete Beginners course, which you can view at roundthecode.com/min1. There's also a link for it in the YouTube video description. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.